Good morning, everyone. Look at the sun. I call the Senate out of recess, call the Senate to order, and recognize Senator Carson for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate adjourn from the late session.
All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. The motion to adjourn passes. We are now in the early session, and we will please be attentive to our chaplain, Reverend John Hopkins. Good morning.
Good morning. Let us pray. Dear God, we give you thanks for this country we live in, this sweet land of liberty, this land where our fathers died, land of the Pilgrim's pride. Help us to treasure this great country and land. Let us never tire of defending freedom and liberty. Let us be worthy of those who have gone before and fought to create and preserve our country. Help the New Hampshire state senators to be inspired by the land of the noble free, the woods and the templed hills, because this land was made for you and me, this land of great lakes, soaring mountaintops. Help us to protect the natural beauty of our state. Help us to welcome all those who come here dreaming of freedom and liberty, all those dreaming to make a better life for their families. Bind us together as Americans who love the land, our country, and each other. God bless America, the land that we love. Stand beside her, guide her with the light from above. Stand with all your people this day in celebrating all the freedoms we enjoy, and help us to remember always that freedom is never free, but takes every citizen to do their part to be vigilant in defense of these hard-fought freedoms and liberties. Amen.
Senator Soucy, could you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you very much. So continuing our presidential guest series, it's my pleasure to introduce Congressman Hurd from the state of Texas to address us on his quest to be our next president. Congressman.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you. Y'all really are nice up here in New Hampshire. The way we started down in Texas is howdy. And what I was hoping to do, Mr. President, if it's all right with you, just tell y'all who's Hurd. Many of y'all have never heard of me. Some of y'all have not seen me. And maybe tell a story or two about who I am. And it starts, I'm a mama's boy. I was the baby of 3. I had messed up teeth as a kid. My head has literally been this size since I was 4 years old. My mom has the evidence, right? And my last name rhymes with nerd. I probably shouldn't say that out loud because someone's gonna use it against me. And I wore a size 14 shoe when I was in the 5th grade. And I had a speech impediment until I was in high school. And I got made fun of a lot. My mother was the only person that could understand me. And that is where, because of those experiences I had as a young kid, I can't stand bullies. I've gotten a lot of fights in my age as I've grown up. Now I'm 6'3", 235 pounds, and know the CIA kick, right? Nobody messes with me now. But that experience formed, at the core of who I am. I had the opportunity in high school to get exposed to robotics. Blew my mind. Decided to study computer science. Did that at a little place called Texas A&M University. And then while I was at A&M, I got exposed to this dude who told the most amazing CIA stories. And I said, I want to do that. And when I graduated at 22, I joined the CIA. I used to say I did 2 years at the super secret CIA training facility called The Farm, but now it's on Google Maps. And I wish, Mr. President, I wish that was a joke. It's true. It's on Google Maps. I did 2 years in India, 2 years in Pakistan, 2 years in New York City doing interagency work, and then 1.5 years in Afghanistan where I managed all of our undercover operations. My job was to prevent terrorist group like Al-Qaeda from having attacks on our homeland. My job was to stop Russian intelligence and Chinese intelligence from stealing our secrets. My job was to stop nuclear weapons proliferators from sneaking dirty bombs into our country. And one of the experiences I learned there, we didn't have the option to say, hey, boss, can't do it. Don't have enough time. Don't have enough money. Don't have enough resources. When lives were on the line, we had to go out and do our jobs. I also learned from some of my mistakes I made. My first tour case officer, first year being overseas, I was in a country that I can't tell you all about, because if I did, I'd have to hurt you, and I don't want to do that. I'm running for office. And when you go meet someone who's giving you secrets, you need to make sure you don't have surveillance, the equivalent of their FBI in that country that you're in. And I'm in a Toyota Tercel. It's a little small car. Turned down an alley which I thought was going to be devoid of people. And as I turned down that alley, there was 1,000 folks in this alley selling their wares. There was pack animals. It was packed. And I'm driving my little Toyota Tercel 4 miles an hour. And a woman walks in front of my car. I mash my brake, roll over her flip-flop, drag her foot across the concrete, bust her toe wide open. Blood's everywhere. She looks in the car, realizes I'm not from around there, and starts screaming bloody murder. I have hundreds of people banging on the car, shaking the car. Now, the CIA teaches you in a situation like this to get off the X. The X is the location where something's going down. And the last place you want to be when something's going down is where it's going down. But my little Tercel wasn't going to be able to get me out of this situation. I had a weapon, but not enough ammunition for this situation. So I did what they least expected. I got out of the car. I unfolded my 6'3" frame out of the vehicle, and everybody was shocked because I was like twice the size of everybody else. I knew some of the local language, but not good enough for this situation. So I said, does anybody speak English? And I will remember this kid's face for the rest of my life. He parts the crowd of people like he was swimming, raises a finger in the air, and says, I speak the English. I said, sir, where's the closest hospital? He's like 4 blocks away. Fetch me a rickshaw. Rickshaw is like a car with a carriage. I took some money in my pocket, gave it to the woman, and I told the rickshaw driver, take her to the hospital immediately. She gets in the rickshaw. My little translator gets in the rickshaw, and it drives away. And the crowd starts applauding, smiling. They're patting me on the back. One dude even helped shove me back into my little car. The sea of people part. I'm driving away, and I'm looking in the rearview mirror, and everybody's waving. And my heart is beating because I thought my mother that day was going to get a phone number no mother ever wants to get. And I tell that story oftentimes to remind people that there are thousands of men and women every single day and every single night putting themselves in harm's way in order for us to enjoy the liberties and the freedoms that we enjoy here. And this is what has made America a great country. These are the things that we have to be able to preserve, and it's no longer a fait accompli. We are facing generational defining challenges. I've seen it up close. I've seen our enemies when I was in the CIA. Then I started a cybersecurity company. My job was to break into banks and steal their money. Guess what? We always got in. We always got in. In an increasing world where our digital footprint is increasing, we got to be able to defend it. The bad guys are trying to get us. So I saw our enemies up close and personal there. Then when I had the opportunity to represent my hometown of San Antonio, Texas in Congress for 6 years, I saw our enemies too. Now, back then, nobody thought a black Republican was going to win in a 72% Latino district. I hadn't lived in my hometown in 15 years. I had zero name ID. We did a poll, and one person knew who I was, and they probably got it wrong. They thought I was somebody else, right? The way we won, eventually. Now, this was at a time when the Tea Party was a thing. They were for my opponent. This was at a time when the NRCC, y'all know who they are, was supporting my opponent, but I was able to win because I did the basic things. I showed up to places. I talked about putting food on our table, roof overhead, and making sure that people we love being healthy, happy, and safe. This stuff isn't rocket science. It's just old-fashioned hard work. And in that experience, representing a district that was 50-50, 50% Republican, 50% Democrat, here's what I learned. We're better together. Way more unites us than divides us as a country. But we focus on those things that divides us. Y'all been an example, to be frank. Even up in the North Country, they were talking about y'all this week, about passing a budget, and it was quick. I'm pretty confident, again, Senator, I don't think folks in the North Country talk too much about what happens here in Concord, but they were talking about y'all solving problems together. Right? Y'all are a model for the rest of the country. And this is what we need to bring in. This is where we need people that are running that, talking about that vision of how we're going to deal with the Chinese government that's trying to surpass us as a global superpower. How are we going to deal at a time when inflation is persistent and new technologies like artificial intelligence are going to impact every single industry? I know that because I've served on the board of the most important AI company in the world. This is coming, not in 5 years or 10 years. It's coming in 2 or 3. We have to be ready. And we have to make sure our kids are ready. All of y'all saw that report this week. 13-year-olds in math, science, and reading, the worst scores this century. That's unacceptable. There's no way that we're going to ensure the rest of this century stays the American century if we don't make sure our kids are getting a world-class education regardless of their age or their location. These are the things we should be talking about. I wish more of our elected officials did things like y'all and work together. Sorry, y'all is the plural of you. I always forget where I am sometimes. Tyler, how much time do I have? 30 seconds. So I was going to tell one more CIA story, but we'll have to save that for next time. We are in complicated times. And the way you solve and succeed in complicated times is with common sense. My name's Will Hurd. Thanks for taking time, and I approve this message.
So, Congressman, this is our first in the nation license plate. We would be honored and proud to have you sign it with some of the other folks on both sides of the aisle running for president, and we will proudly display it in the Secretary of State's office.
Awesome.
So, and since you're going to be spending some time in New Hampshire, you get to do your homework with my calendar.
There we go. Well, that's awesome. Now, I need a better map. So if y'all have that, if anybody has maps in addition to the calendars, let me know. Awesome.
Google works here. Thank you very much. Oh yeah, I always forget the importance. Thank you, Sue. Right. Good luck. We'll see you another time. It doesn't matter. Without objection, since Senator D'Alessandro is not here, I will propose that we move House Bill 75, which is the first bill on the House portion of the bills, to the end of the House bills. So we'll come after, I believe, House Bill 611, without any objection. Now I would recognize Senator Carson for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to amend Senate Rule 7-1 with the amendment provided here today.
Thank you, Senator Carson. It is the deadline rules for filing, which everybody should have. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. The deadlines are adopted by the necessary 2/3. We'll move on to House messages. Without objection, the clerk shall read the first recommendation, and thereafter only the title of each bill shall be read, and the clerk is instructed to enter all House messages into the Senate Journal. So, the Senate will please be attentive to the clerk.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Committee of Conference report on House Bill 119FN relative to homestead food operation licensure. The recommendation is the House recedes from the position of the non-concurrence with the Senate amendment and concur with the Senate amendment, and the Senate and House adopt the following new amendment to the bill as amended by the Senate and pass the bill as amended.
Thank you. The question is, shall the Senate adopt the Committee of Conference report on House Bill 119? Is there any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. The ayes have it. The Committee of Conference report on House Bill 119 is adopted. And I forgot to, as I'm always want to do, to recognize that Senator Pearl moved adoption of that position.
No, that's fine. He has an introduction.
And Senator Pearl, I really messed up because you have a very important introduction.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like you all to join me in welcoming my wife, Heather, and two of our children, Kayana and Jaslyn, today for session. Thank you.
My apologies. Senator Gannon.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd be remiss if I didn't thank my beautiful wife who took me in today and has been shoring up things at home while I've been a little behind. Thank you, Janice, who's behind that nice man.
Okay, are there any other introductions of guests? Boy, I'm thinking snow because of that groomer. The sun came out for the first time in what, 6 weeks, and I'm thinking snow? Are there any other introduction of guests? Okay, seeing none, now the Senate will be attentive to the clerk.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 211, relative to a report by the Department of Energy on the effectiveness of system benefits charge.
Senator Avard moves to adopt. The question is, shall the Senate adopt the Committee of Conference report on House Bill 211? Is there any question? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. The Committee of Conference report on House Bill 211 is adopted. The Senate will please be attentive to the clerk.
House Bill 221, relative to the acquisition of agricultural land development rights.
Senator Pearl moves adoption of House Bill 221. The question is, shall the Senate adopt the Committee of Conference report on House Bill 221? Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. The Committee of Conference report on House Bill 221 is adopted. The Senate will please be attentive to the clerk.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 275L, relative to schools approved for school tuition program by a school board.
The question is... Okay. The question has been moved by Senator Ward. The question is, shall the Senate adopt the Committee of Conference report on House Bill 275? Is there discussion? Senator Fenton? Senator Altschiller? No discussion? Okay. A roll call has been requested by Senator Fenton and seconded by Senator Altschiller. Everybody is here. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Oh, Senator D's here. Senator Gendreau.
Yes.
Senator Lang.
Yes.
Senator Waters.
Yes.
Senator Prentiss.
No.
Senator Gray.
Yes.
Senator Innis.
Yes.
Senator Ward.
Yes.
Senator Ricciardi.
Yes.
Senator Fenton.
No.
Senator Chandley.
No.
Senator Avard.
Yes.
Senator Rosenwald.
No.
Senator Carson.
Yes.
Senator Whitley.
No.
Senator Murphy.
Yes.
Senator Pearl.
Yes.
Senator Soucy.
No.
Senator Birdsell.
Yes.
Senator D'Alessandro.
No.
Senator Perkins Kwoka.
No.
Senator Abbas.
Yes.
Senator Gannon.
Yes.
Senator Altschiller.
No.
Senator Bradley.
Yes. The ayes have it 15-9. The Committee of Conference report on House Bill 275 is adopted. The Senate will please be attentive to the clerk.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 281FN, relative to least cost integrated resource plan of utilities.
Senator Avard moves adoption. The question is, shall the Senate adopt the Committee of Conference report on House Bill 281? Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. The Committee of Conference report on House Bill 281 is adopted. The Senate will please be attentive to the clerk.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 315, prohibiting provocation based on the defendant's religious, race, creed, sexual orientation, national origin, political beliefs or affiliation, sex or gender identity.
The question is, shall the Senate adopt the Committee of Conference report on House Bill 315? Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. The Committee of Conference report on House Bill 315 is adopted. The Senate will please be attentive to the clerk.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 358, relative to the filing and adoption of proposed administrative rules.
The question is, shall the Senate adopt the Committee of Conference report on House Bill 358? Is there any discussion? And it was moved by Senator Carson. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. The Committee of Conference report on House Bill 358 is adopted. The Senate will please be attentive to the clerk.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 409FN, relative to non-resident licensure by the Board of Barbering, Cosmetology, and Aesthetics.
The question is, shall the Senate adopt the Committee of Conference report on House Bill 409? Is there any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? And I neglected to say Senator Pearl moves to adopt. The Committee of Conference report on House Bill 409 is adopted. The Senate will please be attentive to the clerk.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 442FN, establishing a scuba diver recreational lobster license and relative to lobster trap location tracking.
The question is, shall the Senate adopt the Committee of Conference report on House Bill 442? Is there any discussion? Seeing none, are you ready for the question? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. The Committee of Conference report on House Bill 442 is adopted. The Senate will please be attentive to the clerk.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 536, relative to Chartered Public School Joint Legislative Oversight Committee.
The question is, shall the Senate adopt the Committee of Conference report on House Bill 536? Are you ready for the question? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? No. The ayes have it. The Committee of Conference report on House Bill 556 is adopted. The Senate will please be attentive to the clerk.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Committee of Conference report on House Bill 611 FN relative to eligibility criteria for therapeutic cannabis program.
The question is, shall the Senate adopt the Committee of Conference report on House Bill 611? Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The Committee of Conference report on House Bill 611 is adopted. So now we'll go back to the first bill on the sheet, since Senator D is here, and the Senate will be attentive to the clerk.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 75 to increase the threshold of county-owned personal property subject to competitive bidding.
The question is, shall the Senate adopt the Committee of Conference report on House Bill 75? Is there any discussion? Senator Soucy.
Thank you, Mr. President. Although I was initially on this Committee of Conference and stated concerns that I had with the bill, I was removed and didn't sign the report. And I have to say, in many respects, I'm disappointed that we're here today having to have this discussion. Now, the process was the process. The bill, there was an amendment. It was properly noticed in the calendar. There was a hearing on the amendment. But the bill itself, which actually still remains with the Municipal and County Government Committee in the House, because that's where it originated and was retained, the bill itself is just misguided. It's extremely partisan. I think it leaves a sour taste in a lot of our mouths, given the work that we all did on the budget to come together to reach compromise. Now, we're going to have differences of opinion philosophically on other pieces of legislation, but this one, the chair of the House committee who chaired the Committee of Conference basically said the reason that he introduced the bill was because only Democrats get elected county commissioner in Stratford County. To which I say, well, it's still the will of the people to decide if they want to have districts. And that process, which should have taken place last year when we did redistricting, that process didn't happen, wasn't raised. I was in Stratford County for that hearing on redistricting. Nobody said they wanted commissioner districts. And certainly nobody would have requested that the districts look the way they're proposed here. The very things that the people of Stratford County complained about was the fact that cities are broken up, that wards are put together with towns, and that's something that was seen as very problematic for the people of Stratford County. The other thing was that some of these districts barely contiguous. I mean, they're not even the width of a car, it seems, where they're connected. Another complaint folks had. But yet this legislation would propose districts that do those very things. And as I said, the House chair said, the problem is Republicans don't get elected. Well, you know, also said that towns aren't being represented. Well, Stratford County has elected folks from towns. There have been commissioners from Farmington, most recently. There was one from Milton. The towns are represented. And the fact is, we have elections for a reason, and people get to make choices. And in some districts, they're going to predominantly choose Republicans. And in other districts, they're going to predominantly choose Democrats. Stratford County, geographically, is one of the smallest in the state. These districts are terrible. As I said, it really is unfortunate that with all of the good work, bipartisan work we've done together, we find ourselves here in this position. But this is truly partisan. It looks bad. It's not the right way to go. And I actually think folks in Stratford County are likely to challenge it if this were to pass both chambers today. So for all of those reasons, Mr. President, I would ask my colleagues to really think about this and vote no on this committee of conference. Thank you. And I would request a roll call.
Thank you, Senator Soucy. A roll call has been requested by Senator Soucy, seconded by Senator Avard. Senator Gray is recognized to speak.
Thank you, Mr. President. Unlike my colleague, I'm proud of this piece of legislation. State Constitution, when we look at representative districts, makes a point of making them as small as we can make them, so that the people are represented by the people who elect them. That's what we're trying to do here in Stratford County. Stratford County, as my colleague said, there is a predominance of Democrats in Stratford County compared to Republicans. Okay. So my constituents in New Durham, Farmington, Stratford, and 6 wards in Rochester came to me and said, hey, we don't like what happened with House Bill 270. It got put on the shelf. We want to have our own election or have someone from our communities elected. Further people came from Milton and Milton contacted me. More people came from Barrington and Lee and asked to have that. Well, we followed the process as best we could, offered to many people if they wanted a different map that was in 270 before we made the decision in the committee. No one brought anything forward, even though I had proposed maps and distributed them out. Even in the committee of conference, one of the objections was that 2 of the current commissioners were in the same district that was proposed in House Bill 270, and also, since we used 270 as the model for House Bill 75, none of the Democrats on the committee wanted to support that. And I told them, all you have to do is support that amendment, and I'll vote along with you. They chose not to. 75 uses districts to elect county commissioners, which is exactly what the other 9 counties do. 7 of them also elect them by district. 2 of them elect them at large. We are bringing Stratford County into the rest of the groups. The county commissioner with the longest tenure said after the committee of conference, is the other counties have all these arguments. We don't have those. Well, hey, if you've got people with different opinions, you're going to have arguments. Arguments a lot of times are good things to have because it brings out the various points of view. If you've only got one opinion, did you really pass the right law? Did you really pass the right thing? So I certainly support this, and I ask my colleagues to also support this. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Gray. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, a roll call has been requested. The clerk will please call the roll.
Senator Gendreau.
Yes.
Senator Lang.
Yes.
Senator Waters.
No.
Senator Prentiss.
No.
Senator Gray.
Yes.
Senator Innis.
Yes.
Senator Ward.
Yes.
Senator Ricciardi.
Yes.
Senator Fenton.
No.
Senator Chandley.
No.
Senator Avard.
Yes.
Senator Rosenwald.
No.
Senator Carson.
Yes.
Senator Whitley.
No.
Senator Murphy.
Yes.
Senator Pearl.
Yes.
Senator Soucy.
No.
Senator Birdsell.
Yes.
Senator D'Alessandro.
No.
Senator Perkins Kwoka.
No.
Senator Abbas.
Yes.
Senator Gannon.
Yes.
Senator Altschiller.
No.
And Senator Bradley.
Yes. The ayes have it, 14 to 10. The Committee of Conference report on House Bill 75 is adopted. All right, we have 4 of the Senate bills that have arrived. They're still debating 2 in the House. So I'd propose, rather than take a break now, let's, as long as everybody is okay, proceed with the Senate bills that we have, so if we could all be attentive to the clerk, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 15FN, relative to the use of tree stands and observation blinds.
The question is, shall the Senate adopt the Committee of Conference report on Senate Bill 15? Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The Committee of Conference report on Senate Bill 15 is adopted. Senate Bill 61 is one of the bills that we do not have yet. We'll skip to... No coronaries there, Senator. We'll skip to Senate Bill 78. The Senate will please be attentive to the clerk.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 78FN, relative to subdivision regulations on the completion of improvements. Done.
The question is, shall the Senate adopt the Committee of Conference report on Senate Bill 78? Is there any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. The Committee of Conference report on Senate Bill 78 is adopted. The Senate will please be attentive to the clerk.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 147, relative to the Board of Dental Examiners.
The question is, shall the Senate adopt the Committee of Conference report on Senate Bill 147? Is there any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. The Committee of Conference report on Senate Bill 147 is adopted. The Senate will please be attentive to the clerk.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 166FN, relative to electric grid modernization.
The question is, shall the Senate adopt the Committee of Conference report on Senate Bill 166? Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. The Committee of Conference report on Senate Bill 166 is adopted. So I am told that Senate Bill 61 failed, 134 to 238. The Senate will please be attentive to the clerk.
Annie, do you have that message for the failed? Thank you. Senate Bill 207, establishing a committee to study licensure of mental health professionals and relative to mental health critical incident intervention and management.
The question is, shall the Senate adopt the Committee of Conference report on Senate Bill 207? Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The Committee of Conference report on Senate Bill 207 is adopted.
They just started on the whole stuff. Okay. We're done all our work, but they're not done their work yet.
All right, well,
So
but
we should probably close.
we're going to be in recess for 10 minutes, and hopefully by that point in time, the balance of the House bills will be adopted, and the House will be finished its business, we'll be finished ours, which we are finished. but then we'll go into third reading, okay? So we'll be in recess till 11 o'clock. Carson, please, for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate adjourn from the early session, that the business of the late session be in order at the present time.
All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. The early session is adjourned. So this is this time of year, every time in the spring when we all come together. This year has been a particularly great year, and it's our opportunity as senators to thank a multitude, and I mean a multitude of people who have made 2023 and all of our work possible. So I can't say enough about our clerk, Tammy Wright, all of the staff, all of her great staff, Ann, Jack Gardner, Herb, Molly, Roger, Mike, and Pip. Great job, everybody. Great job. And then I want to thank the third floor staff. Marie, where are you? You've done an awesome job moving in. Shayna, Grant, Maya, Daly, Kate, and I'm going to thank the minority office staff too, and I'm sure that Senator Soucy will, but all of you, great job. Thank you very much. Patrick, where are you? Patrick Murphy, our Senate researcher. Thank you very much. I'm going to let all of you thank your own legislative aides. I just gave Maria a shout out, but when we get to that, let me finish with everybody else first. And we got to start because we had such a great budget. It wouldn't have happened without the LBA, Mike Kane, and everybody. Normally, when they're in their offices plugging away at trying to figure out what we're trying to do, what we want to accomplish, you never see them except in the finance room. Now that we're done, and we didn't have a committee of conference, I love to see you guys on the street. Mike Kane's exercise group. We would not have been able to do what we do without all of the staff at OLS. You guys do an unbelievable job, Dave. Thank you, and thanks to all of your staff for the hard work. We've had a lot of new folks come and work for the legislature in the past year, and so I'm looking for Jen Becker. Where are you? There you are. Jen and her staff, Stephanie, Amanda, and Lindsay do a great job of making sure that everybody is doing what they're supposed to be doing, interviewing people, keeping the trains running. Jen, thank you very much. We wouldn't be able to function if all of the senators and everybody else with their laptops didn't have Wi-Fi and web services here. So for our IT and media services, Scott Kelly and his team, Ray, Lori, Sue, Ryan, Jonathan, Cameron, and Riley, thank you guys very much. I know there have been some trying times this year, but thank you for keeping us all online. I've had the opportunity to talk to a number of school groups this year. For whatever reason, I was able to do it more this year than ever, and so I really have gotten to appreciate the work of Virginia and Margaret at Visitor Center. You guys do a great job making this building welcome to the public, so thank you very much. And the building would not function without a great operations staff, Doug Delcino and his team, Darren, Angelo, Bob, Pip, John, Mike, and Ron. Thank you for all the hard work you do keeping this building functional. It's not always the easiest job. increasingly in this age where protective services are so important, Joe and George and their team, thank you for keeping all of us safe. You guys are the best. Thank you. And our nurse, Natalie Flanagan, where are you? There you are. We haven't had too many bad events here, but thank you so much. And the one person that sort of keeps this all going, somebody that I've known for, how many years is it, boss? A long time. Our Chief of Staff, Deborah Vanderbeek, can't say enough about what she does. Thank you, folks, very much. It was a great session. And stick around for a few minutes. I'll have a few remarks at the end that you might want to hear. But I'm going to give each senator a chance to give a shout out to their staff people. So who would like to go first? Senator Carson.
Thank you, Mr. President. There are a number of people that I would like to thank. Being a majority leader was kind of an adjustment for me, and quite frankly, I couldn't have done the job without the help of my aide, Matthew. He is phenomenal. He understands me, he knows how I work, he keeps track of me, he keeps me focused, and I couldn't have done my job without Matthew, and I really want to thank Matthew for working with me, not only as my aide, but as the committee secretary for Judiciary. He did a phenomenal job of keeping track of Judiciary as well, and I can't thank him enough for all his work. So please accept my thanks, Matthew. Mr. President, I would also like to thank Daley. Daley became our new Majority Caucus Director, and he's done a fabulous job. Always available, he's a dream to work with, just like Matthew. So I just want to say thank you for all your hard work. There are a couple of other folks that I'd like to thank. I'd like to thank Rich Lambert. He does a really good job on keeping us on the straight and narrow, and unfortunately, a lot of times people forget about the work that he does, so I would like to thank him. I'd also like to thank our committee attorney, Mr. Lehman. Invaluable resource, and he's just, again, another person that is a dream to work with. So I'd like to thank you for all your help with Senate Judiciary. The last but not the least person that I'd like to thank is Hurd. Mr. President, he's usually the first person we see when we come through the door to come here into the chambers. He always has a smile on his face. He's always happy, and it sets the tone for the day, and I want to thank him for that. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Senator
Carson, I'd also like to thank Terry Poff. He was a... Terry and I came into the house across the wall in the same year in 1990. We've grown white hair together. And Terry, you're going to get that parking garage. You are going to get it. Next will be Senator Avard.
Thank you, Mr. President. And first I want to thank Marie for putting the training wheels on me so that I could know when to come and go. But then she trained Tricia, who does an amazing job And I have to really look for her approval on just about everything, whether my tie is straight, whether my music is good, and if I actually understand what I'm doing for the day. And I really am very grateful for Tricia. She's really stepped up into some really important shoes, and you've more than done fulfill them. And I know both of us are very, very grateful for you. And it's you seem to be a magnet, too, because people like to come into the office and, hey, where's Tricia? Because you're a light, and we recognize that. So thank you. Thank you for everything.
Senator Gendreau.
President, and Kathy Cummings is the assistant for Senator Lang and I, and she's watching us. She was not able to make it up into this room, but just a huge thank you to Kathy. And you know, Senator Carson had mentioned the training wheels, the guardrails, and that's exactly what Kathy did for us. And being a freshman senator, not even knowing what in the world I was doing, she rescued me so much. And Tim and I were talking earlier about that, about helping us with our schedule. So a huge shout out to her for sure. But also looking around this room, and I think every single person in this room contributed to our success. Every single person in some way. So we talk about a team effort. It truly is. It's not just one person or one senator or one group. It is a team. And I'm so grateful for that. So thank you, Mr. President, and thank you all. Thank you all.
Senator Innis.
I walked into my office the first day, and Ava was there. And Ava is something special. And I want to thank you, Ava, for the 3 weeks we spent together. I mean, I walk in, it's like a Murphy Brown episode. I'm out the door as your assistant, right? But, you know, it was terrific. Her energy is infectious. I really enjoyed our time together. So you can imagine the shift as we go to Aaron Jones. And I walk in, and he's there. Good morning, Senator. Right? But we built a great working relationship together. I really appreciate the steadiness you bring to the job, how you keep me on track, how you work with my eccentricities and idiosyncrasies, and I'm really grateful to have you as my aide, and really, really appreciate all that you've done. Thank you.
Senator Birdsell.
President, first I want to thank you for taking the reins from Senator Morse all this time. You've done a fabulous job. I want to thank Marie. We've been together since 2015 when I first came in. Training wheels, then the two-wheeler. Now she's got me driving. And I appreciate everything. She's who I vent to. She's my confidant. And we have a great working relationship, and I hope it continues. I also want to thank Cam. He's trained me in HHS as my first legislative aide for HHS. You kept me on the straight and narrow as well, and you've guided me where I need to go, and I really appreciate it. You do a fabulous job. Thank you.
Senator Abbas.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I share with my good friend from 17, we shared an assistant, Peter O'Neill, but he's not here today. He's traveling to Michigan, so hopefully he's safe travels. But he had to handle 2 freshman senators who probably needed training wheels but refused to use them. So he had his hands full, and we both have other professional obligations outside of the State House, so we're all over the place. But he did a really good job of really keeping us aligned, keeping us organized, and my iPad would malfunction. He's always there to help us out, and really, we could not have done it without him. And really, everyone in this room, I really appreciate everything you guys did to keep the wheels turning. So thank you again.
Senator Soucy.
Thank you, Mr. President. We're going to do this in two parts, so I'd like Senator Rosenwald to go next. But I really, really want to thank Jenny and Ava. I know many of you know how great they are because you've worked with them over the years in many capacities. We are so thrilled to have them down in room 120. As has already been said, certainly their experience, their professionalism, their knowledge has been invaluable to us, and they are so much fun. In the toughest times, when we've had issues to grapple with, they have just done above and beyond what is expected to try to make us look good. They have great advice and wisdom that they love to share. And I think not just me, but our entire caucus has truly benefited from all the great work that they've done for us. And we truly, truly appreciate them. Thank you, gentlemen.
Senator Rosenwald.
I would like to thank Jen Gallagher. Jenny G is the sun coming up in the morning. She does it all. She has Senator Soucy and me always going in the right place with the right materials at the right time. She is welcoming to other senators and the public downstairs, and she is an absolute rock star at constituent work. She shines at it, and I know our constituents really, really appreciate it. So thank you, Jen. And I'd also like to add my personal thanks to the LBA, who I think sometimes I talk to you more than I talk to my own family. No matter what time of day I email you, I hear back. And you're always smiling, you're always helpful, you're never wrinkled, and you always help us get to the place we need to get. So thank you.
Senator D'Alessandro.
Thank you, Mr. President. First, thanks to you for your great leadership this year. It's not easy being at the top. Let me make that perfectly clear. It's not easy being at the top. As I look around the room, I probably have been here longer than almost any of you. And let me just say this. Sweet Sonia has been with me for 2 decades. I don't think anybody has had a secretary or a confidant or a friend longer than Sweet Sonia and I have been together. So I can't thank her enough for putting up with me for all of these years. And as I look around the room, the LBA, you guys and women, the new addition, by the way, thank you, are the best since sliced bread. I'm on the phone with you all the time. Herr Hoffman, I'm calling you all the time, and you're always getting back to me lickety-split. Michael, Kane, Chris, and Kevin, all of you. And it's just great working with you, and I must say that you do more work than any group I've ever seen. I talked to the chairman of a committee in Massachusetts. They've got 25 or 30 people just working for that committee. We have, 7 people working for the House, working for the Senate. So the LBA is superb, the greatest, as I say, the best. And that phone always gets answered by the gorgeous woman who handles it, and I thank her too. I couldn't live without the nurse. She's been spectacular. That's all I can say, spectacular to me in keeping me going, and thank you very much for that. To the staff, Annie takes care of me and has since day one. Thank you, Annie. Thanks for all you do. And to the rest of you guys, thanks for all of your service, not only to me, but to the rest of the troops. Richie, you're the best. That's all I can say. I think Senator Carson was absolutely correct. You are the best, and people in that office are certainly great. Jeff, the man with 1,000 years of experience writing legislation. Thank you very much. Keep it going. And to Tricia at the State House, she delivers all the time. Thank you, Tricia at the State House. And I must give everyone just a great big thank you to my colleagues, a big thank you. Serving the public is not easy. It's a task that we all, we all approach in a different manner. But it's really what we're here for, and the kind of help that we get from our colleagues and from those who support us is extraordinary. And I thank everybody. I thank everybody for that. And Herbie is great welcoming people. You know, he's a great American. The Paffer in the garage. It had to come, Paffer. It just had to come. It was only a matter of time. Remember, I was here when we built Store Street. Okay, I remember parking at Store Street in 1973 when it first went up, long time ago. But I just can't thank everybody enough. Truly, it's great to work with people, colleagues, and those who have left us too. Some outstanding memories. So thank all of you. I thank all of you, and appreciate all you do. And we got to keep it going. That's all. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator D'Alessandro, and thank you for always being inspiring and coming back so well from your injury. I think that inspired all of us. All right, Senator Waters.
Let's give it up for the Lionel Messi of 101A. Go Cameron! Thank you, Mr. President.
Wow. Senator Lang, can you beat that?
No, absolutely not. But what I can say is, like Carrie said, our aides were so invaluable. Anybody knows they watch me, I walk around with my phone in my hand, and if it doesn't go on my calendar, I'm going to forget about it. It's that simple. And Kathy did a great job at making sure I was where I was supposed to be, when I was supposed to be there, and had the right materials. Even when I forgot the materials, they were at my desk when I got there. So it was phenomenal. But to Sonia, you know, she kept me on as a first-time senator in a chair, Ways and Means. I say, oh, I want to do this, and she goes, oh. And it was great. She kept me on task, kept me where we need to go, make sure I didn't screw up the timelines for what we needed, and so thank you very much for that. Appreciate that. My first term in the House, Speaker Jasper put me on JALCAR, and everyone said, what'd you do to piss him off? And I walked into the committee, and there was literally, back before we had these gadgets, we had a stack of paper, I'm not kidding, it was at least a foot high. And I'm like, who has time to read all this? And the answer is Mike Worrell and all of his staff, right? The amount of detail, the incredible amount of work they do as for our JALCAR staff is phenomenal. As vice chair of JALCAR this year, I got to see what goes behind the curtain, not just showing up for the committee, but coming in and seeing what they do. And it is phenomenal, the amount of detail that they have to parse through to say, oh, this reference to this federal statute in some register somewhere is off by a digit. And he's able to find it, fix it, and get it right, even though the agency got it wrong. So to your staff, I really, really do appreciate all the detail and work that you guys do. So thank you very much.
Senator Gray.
Thank you, Mr. President. Budget, okay? When I joined the Senate, you know, over 6 years ago now, I went in and I says, well, for committees, I says, I want election law and anything else but finance. And the only reason I was able to do finance is because of my committee assistant, Deb, and the people from LBA, okay? One of the best compliments that I received in this whole process is that the departments knew when to be there, and there was always a purpose for them to be there. They weren't sitting around in those meetings waiting for something, and that never happened. And that is the hard work between the LBA and Deb to make sure that we were on point, that we knew what we were going to do that day, that we were having the committee meetings, and without the staff of the LBA, that never would have happened. And that's part of the reason why we finished on time, Jeb, whether you knew it or not, you know, because of the hard work and the scheduling that went into it. Can't help but, you know, thank you guys enough. And even though Deb is going to yell at me when I get downstairs for mentioning her name more than once, but we'll take that. Then the other committee that I have, Trish, you know, certainly election law. I think that election law, if you look at the number of bills that we went through and the number of bills that came out on a very bipartisan basis, that it's just amazing, you know, the things that we do in election law and municipal affairs. And thank you for that. I want everyone on municipal affairs, election law and municipal affairs, to tell you that our luncheon that wasn't well attended went very well, and that it did give me the opportunity to thank Trish and to thank Deb. When I look around the room, there's very few people that are here that I haven't interacted with time and time again in this last 2 years. Thank you to all. And even though I'm only an alternate on GELCAR, I still appreciate all the hard work that they do, and so that I can go in, you know, on a 10-minute notice and say, you know, and know what's going on. So thank you all very much.
Senator Pearl.
Thank you, Mr. President. Well, as my roommate from District 22 said, it's been quite a year, quite a freshman year. We've had a great time. Peter has been an amazing person. The friendship that we've developed between us, he is in Michigan. He's flying out to plan his wedding. He's going to get married, and that's been important. So he's had a few questions for me too, and I've had a whole lot for him about keeping us on track. But no, it's been a great experience. He's been amazing, keeping the office in line, trying to keep all my paperwork in order for the committees. You know, chairing ED&A was a heavy lift. We had a lot of work in there this year with OPLC, certainly. My vice chair was instrumental in helping me get through that as well, Senator Carson. I appreciate that. But Philip was amazing. Everything we did, everything we needed, things I didn't know I needed, things I didn't know I was supposed to do. We got them all done because it is greatly in part to you, Philip, and I thank you for that. You were amazing. Nick on energy, you know, I had to step up and take over for Senator Avard when he had some issues. You and Tricia were both right there, and we got it done. We got the planning done, the scheduling done. I just, again, I thank you, all of you. But I will tell you, the biggest story I want to tell you is if you really want to learn what's going on at the State House, you need to have the office with a water cooler in it. Because there are people in and out of the office all the time, and it's just interesting to the things you learn, the things you hear, the interactions that we have, as it's been stated. Thank all of you. I see many of you around in official capacity. Some of you I run into out in the public, and I always appreciate you recognizing me and knowing who we are, and it's just an amazing experience to be here. And to all my colleagues, thank you. It's been an incredible freshman year. It really has. We've done a wonderful job. Deb Martone in finance, she'll hate me too, Jim. She can. She kept me in line. It was an absolute pleasure sitting next to her. The conversations we had as we went through the hearings were, well, they were fun. I'll say that. And finance can be an arduous task, but she made it very pleasurable, and I appreciate that. So thank you all, and I hope you all have a great summer.
Senator Gannon.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to thank you first. We had the calmest caucus I've ever been in. The table is always just focused and organized, and everyone's having a good time. So that's important. Aaron in Commerce, I told him on day one, you've done it before, you schedule, and he'd always have his suggestions. How do you like it? I'd be, sounds good to me. So thank you. I have to, Denise, you're like staff to me also. You took over Commerce when I disappeared for 4 weeks, and you did a great job, so thank you. Sharon in Judiciary, it's the really can be the most demanding committee. Wasn't so bad this year, because you always are on top of everything. So thank you very much for running that committee so well. Stan, security. I don't know if you're up here, Stan. You're probably listening somewhere. You're always a wonderful, fresh, fun face to talk to every morning. Herb, I've enjoyed talking about your son. Where's he going to play? Football in Arizona or somewhere? New Mexico. I'm not good on the map. It's pretty close. Rick Lehman, sage advice on legal matters, kept me out of making a few mistakes. Thank you. Our nurse, who has to push me up to get me out of this building. Thank you. I probably destroyed your back. Let's see. Who haven't we mentioned? Oh, Tricia. I forgot you. How could I forget you? So Jeb put us together. I don't know if it was a Beauty and the Beast thing, but for me, I'm into Disney references. For me, it was a glass slipper. You just fit so well. It's been a great 3 years. Everyone else thinks they have a piece of Trish. You're all mine. I don't know what they're talking about. Constituent services. I was horrible at that 6 years ago, 7 years ago. Terrible. You answer every call. You take care of everyone. You know what my responses would be. Thank you. Interior decorating. You got the deers in the right spot. You did really well there. And I come to her many mornings and I'm like, I had these thoughts at 2 or 3 in the morning. And they look like this. I'll be like, can you make this sort of coherent for about 10 o'clock and 15 minutes? So I thank you for putting everything together. It's a joy coming to see you every day. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
And Senator Gannon, like Senator D'Alessandro, and like Senator Avard, the three of you are absolutely inspirational to all of us for your persistence, your perseverance, your hard work to get back here, to do your job while you were out of commission. I can't say enough about how the rest of us had so much respect for all three of you. So thank you. All right, Senator Altschiller.
Thank you, Mr. President. After Organization Day, Senator Fenton and I got our office assignments, and when we got downstairs to LOB 5, we saw potential. Isn't that right, Senator Fenton? It was all potential. We were greeted by Jenny Horgan, all by her little lonesome self, who in a matter of a few short weeks would move up to State House 120. So when Jenny stepped away, Aaron stepped in, thank you, and he fielded so many questions and so many requests. And that small bag of Lindt chocolate was clearly not enough to thank you for how wonderful you were for those couple of weeks. And I came back another day and Aaron was whisked away and and Jenny is gone. And then we soon had Kevin Condict and Nick Liamos as our aides. And I would have to say it's kind of a group effort down in the bougie bunker. If you've not been down to the bougie bunker, I suggest you come take a trip. So now the bougie bunker is full, and I had the pleasure of knowing the two of them in previous professional capacities, so I was like really thrilled to see their faces in the bougie basement bunker. Kevin is really smart, very organized, and he tackles research projects like he did when he played sports in high school. It is done, and I know that he drags Nick into some of them sometimes, and before you know it, I got a stack of receipts, as we like to say, down in the bougie bunker. I am grateful that he's so open to learning the ropes right alongside me, and that he is honest and frank when the situation calls for it. Plus, he has a terrific sense of humor, thank goodness, as well as Nick. Just ask Senator Fenton. Maybe Senator Fenton has enjoyed some of our humor down in the bougie bunker. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Nick. Thank you very much. And I want to thank you, and for the summer, I guess we'll be pausing Dunks Wednesdays Sorry, I'm not going to be coming in every Wednesday. But I think I've left you guys enough snacks at least to get through the next month or so. We'll have to send an Amazon order. Thank you to Jenny and Ava for responding to text messages, even when I start the text message with, this is not a now problem. They always respond anyway. Thank you for your briefings, for your speech edits, and for your committee support. You're absolutely the best. Thank you.
Senator Fenton.
I want to echo what my colleague said. I guess you all now know the nickname of our office. It's the Bougie Bunker. Cat's out of the bag on that one. And part of the job requirement is to survive with very little sunlight in the basement. So I think Nick and Kevin do an excellent job at that. And, you know, Deb and I are both freshman senators, and Nick and Kev are both, I guess, freshman aides. And, you know, that made us a little nervous going into this, but we have learned together, we've grown together, and, you know, we've really just, you know, kicked butt together. And it's an awesome experience. And speaking of kicking butt, Nick is a black belt. So if you ever mess with me, you're going to have to go through my aid as well. So thank you.
I used to love that office back in the day. It's a great office. All right, Senator Avard.
Yeah, I apologize for forgetting Nick, because you did a great job. And I know energy is not exactly the most fun topic, but you really stepped up and really did a great job. And you helped us work in so many bipartisan issues. And no complaints. I just asked you, and you did it. And we have a rising star here. He's really good, and you really surprised me. You did well. And in addition to that, I want to thank Margaret. You're amazing. You do the tours. The kids, they come here, and these are walking encyclopedias. If I forget, you know, what the picture's all about, you're there. And we really appreciate you and Virginia and all the volunteers in the visitor center. It's the first place people go, and they look around, and you are right there, and you've done a great job. So just hats off to you. Thank you.
Senator Whitley.
Thank you, Mr. President. I don't know if she's here, but I want to thank my girl Jess. Jess has been with me for day one, and she has turned into not only someone I really trust to actually manage my schedule. I have never ever relinquished my schedule, and so you know, she has done that for me, but she's also become a really good friend, a part-time therapist. There's no way I could navigate everything that happens in the State House without her, so I'm deeply grateful for everything that she does. I also wanted to give another shout out to Matthew for walking in to Judiciary. It's a tough, busy, interesting committee, and you just breezed right in and did a fabulous job. And of course to my guy, Cam, who just can level you with a look. And he can level you with a look, but he's also so wildly competent, and he keeps that committee moving. So thank you.
Senator Ward.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for taking the helm. I've been here, a couple of years now, and as an aide, I started out with Marie. It was great. And then she moved up, and I got Ava. After a couple of weeks, she moved up, and I said, okay, what's happening now? And then I was presented with Aaron Jones. I have to say something about Aaron that I really appreciate. When I go in to do something, I like to have all the materials there, and I look at it. And I don't have to do it at home, which I still do, because when I come into the office, Aaron has everything all there. He somehow anticipates what I need, and it's there, and I really appreciate that. Thank you very much, Aaron. Another part that concerned me with the switches was that an education committee, Ava had done such a wonderful job. And then when she moved up, my concern was, okay, who's going to do the report? Are they going to be able to do it? Do they know how to do it? And I was given Pete. And I said, how do you learn so fast what to do? How do you type so fast? How do you get all the essence down? And he said, well, we have help and practice a couple of times, and it's done. And he has done a marvelous job. And I appreciate that, Pete, and I appreciate Aaron for what you have done. And Ava before. And I have been in touch, seen a lot of you over the years, and I have to say that I appreciate every single thing that you do and your part in making this place run smoothly. Thank you.
Senator Perkins Kwoka. And on the inspiration category, you also qualify, and that's an awesome thing, yes.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. Well, I have to start by thanking Cam, and I don't have a big ballad for you, but Cam and I have a very special relationship where I like to schedule too many things, and Cam likes to be really stressed out about it. And so every single day he's like, are you going to be able to make it to this thing and then this thing? And I really appreciate you keeping me in line, reminding me when my daughter's school is closed, and just generally taking care of it. Cam also does a great job on constituent work. I remember from being a city councilor that, it's just a lot to sort of make sure you're helping people with these things they need every day. And so it's been invaluable now to have staff that really enjoys the work, gets in touch with the right people, make sure I've followed up and I'm connecting with those people. And so that's been really helpful. And he also just takes care of things when I send him a text. It's like, can you send this thing to this person and make sure you copy that person and, maybe do it tomorrow? And it always gets done perfectly despite my terrible direction. So I appreciate that. On the interior decorating front, we have work to do, but we're getting there. Jenny and Ava, I just want to thank because as a busy mom of 2, soon to be 3, there's a lot of stuff that I just don't have time to sort of forecast or think about or remember. And I feel like they're always there. They've got us covered, making sure we're communicating, and we just sort of know what's coming for the day and making sure that we're ready. So I appreciate that. I want to thank OLS because HB 655, I think, came over to us as a 35-page bill, and then I wrote a 28-page amendment to it. So that was a lot of work, and I really appreciate all the hard work that went into sort of like making sure that the House and Senate versions of that were balanced and had everything in it. And then I also just want to thank Ginny and Margaret because I constantly get texts from constituents in my district that are like, oh my gosh, my 4th grader went to the State House today, they had a great time, sometimes I get to see them and sometimes they don't, but I know that they're getting their first experience here and it's really kind of helping inform their mind, and hopefully they'll be back someday. So thank you for that. Thanks, guys.
Senator Ricciardi.
It truly does take a village to run the State House, and I'm just truly grateful for each and every one of you in this room. I don't think we could do it without you. I'm very grateful for our leadership, and I am truly grateful for every colleague in here. I have enjoyed working with all of you, and I consider you all friends. I want to thank Marie because she transitioned me to Philip, and I want to thank Aaron, who helped me when I had to manage commerce, and you do a fantastic job. Before I get back to Philip, I want to give a shout out to Donna, who always comes and cleans the office with the biggest smile on her face, and I look forward to seeing her, every afternoon. Philip has been amazing. He gets me. He knows what I need before I even have to ask him. I will sometimes give him a list or ask him, and he'll go, it's already done, it's on your desk. I don't know what I would have done without him. We kind of grew into each other, and we had it all down perfect, and I couldn't ask for a better, I like to say, a working partner. I really am so grateful to him. And with that being said, I don't know who's going to fill his shoes because I'm very happy for him. He has a new opportunity, but I am losing him. So but I am very, very happy and very grateful. And I would really like to personally thank all of you, but I would keep you here all day. But I have to talk about the Visitor Center because not only do they help me with the tours with all the fourth graders, but I love going in there to decompress and relax. I just love that place. So thank you all, and I hope you have a great summer.
Senator Chandley.
We're at the point probably where we think everything that could possibly be said has been said, but it hasn't, because I don't think we can ever overstate our gratitude. And there isn't a group here that, or perhaps even a person, that I haven't asked for help at somewhere along the way, whether it's IT, legislative services, legislative accounting, housekeeping, the clerk's office, our caucus, the majority office, the visitors center, the folks from GELCAR, the nurse's office, and I'm afraid I don't want to forget anyone, because I have come to you for help, and you have helped me be a good representative for my community, to serve my community, and I thank you for your service to the state. And it's incredibly powerful. And maybe if we haven't interacted a lot individually, just the fact that each morning, when you greet us by saying good morning, it makes a huge difference. You are the light in my day every day. I do have to say thank you to my chair people, Senator Carson, Senator Gannon. Thank you to all my colleagues. Thank you to committee aides, Aaron and Matthew. Thank you for all your work. And finally, but not the least of which, I do need to thank Jessica Burke, because she does what so many of our aides do. She adapts to meet the needs of the individual senators she's serving, and she is serving 3 of us, which is probably no small task when she has 3 people's needs to meet. We are in that committee room over in the LOB, and she does a fabulous job helping each of us keep our schedules, set up meetings with the folks that we need to meet with, and know where we need to be. So again, thank you, Mr. President, for all you've done.
Senator Murphy.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I could not believe my luck as a freshman senator when I walked in and found that I had been assigned to the best office in the entire complex. Room 101 of the LOB, if you offered to switch with me, I would say no. I love that office. Please don't move me. When I walked in there the first day, I met my new assistant. His name was Aaron Jones. If it wasn't clear, Aaron Jones gets moved around like a chess piece. So 2 weeks later, he was stolen away to work for the 3rd floor. You're welcome. And I was assigned Mr. Pete Mulvey. And I thought, new senator, new assistant, we'll see. You would never know Pete was new. Pete knocked it out of the park every single day. I never missed an appointment. I never wanted for more than a couple hours for research. I never had a constituent email me and say he didn't get response. Pete was essential to me being successful at my job this year. So Pete, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And Mr. President, in conclusion, I just want to echo my gratitude for the professionalism, the competence, and the day-to-day pleasantness that I encountered at every single office in this building. Thank you all very much for everything.
Senator Prentiss.
Senator Bradley, Mr. President, I feel like, am I playing, is it the cleanup batter? Am I almost? Okay, I think you actually ultimately have the final word. There's not much more that I could say that hasn't already been said. Thank you very much. I wanted to express, of course, my sincere thanks and gratitude for the day-to-day support that I receive, not just during session, but outside of session months from our wonderful aide, Jess Bork, and Senator Chandley and Senator Whitley are supported by her as well, and I echo their gratitude, appreciation, and compliments. I did want to provide a special shout out, or bring a special shout out to, I call him Commander Terry Path, and our new nurse, Nurse Flanagan. This year, you all know that I'm a paramedic. I'm very interested in the safety of this building, the health care, and taking care of each other. And I wanted to make sure that as many people as possible knew how to do CPR, knew how to use the AEDs that we have, and knew how to put tourniquets on, because a bill has been passed that's going to put tourniquets in state buildings. So I reached out to the commander and our State House nurse, and we were able to put on an event in the State House cafeteria to help get you all trained up, as well as other legislators. I couldn't have gotten that done without you, and I appreciate it, and I'll be calling on you more. And lastly, from the first floor to the third floor, to the clerk's office, to OLS, to LBA, thank you. Your work has been sincerely appreciated. You heard it. That's it. Thank you.
Senator Innis.
Yes, as you know, the Capital Budget Committee is always front and center in everyone's mind. And we did it in record time. And we did it in record time because of Kevin. Where'd he go? Kevin had to leave. He left. Well, anyhow, thanks to Kevin for that. We'll do it in record time again next time, too. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, I would like to say a few words, but a couple of announcements first. Everybody should have this list of re-referred bills. There are approximately 50. So, as I think a lot of us know, the first floor of the State House is going to have a huge amount of activity. So it would appear, from what I've been told, that I wouldn't be scheduling too many re-referred bill meetings in July or August, maybe even into September. Wait until after that. The one exception, I suspect the Retirement Commission, the Group 2 Commission, will figure that out. But just if you could keep that in mind. And secondly, I know everybody wants to travel a little bit, enjoy the summer, hopefully really have a good time, get far away. If you could, through your aides, let us know so that we have a pretty good idea. I haven't had a chance to talk to the speaker yet about veto day. My guess is it will be in early October, but it would be helpful to have everybody's travel schedule so I can try to schedule around that, okay? Those are the announcements. Now, it's obviously been a brand new experience for me to be up here. I didn't really know what to expect, even though I had worked with Senator Morse for years, and I got to give Shannon a shout out because we miss you on the third floor, but I'm glad you're on the first floor. I didn't really know what to expect, and for all of us to come together and do the work that we did, I think is exceptional. As somebody who's, been in this building for a long time and lived up close and personal the dysfunction in our nation's capital, it was pretty inspiring to see the work that the 24 of us did and all of the help that all of you that are here, and hearing the heartfelt thanks of so many senators. It was truly inspiring. But I just want to go around the room because it's really important to know what everybody did. It's just exceptional. So I'm going to start with Senator Gendreau. And thank you, because as I approach geezerhood really quickly, there's nobody who's going to appreciate the Cannon Mountain Tram more than me. So thank you for the Cannon Mountain Tram. Senator Lang, as anybody, and I think Senator D'Alessandro and I were on the first committee of conference on education funding back in 1999, the effort that you put into education funding is going to be so helpful, especially to towns that have a lot of students and a lot of needs. So great job on that. Senator Waters, all the work that you've done protecting our environment, in particular this year, Senate Bill 123, the ambient groundwater quality standards. And I think for the North Country, Senate Bill 14, I know it didn't get passed, but you got game camera legislation through. Great job. Senator Prentiss, you got a wonderful award recognizing all of your efforts for first responders, but you've also worked to make state buildings safer. And I think you worked long and hard to make sure that prescribers are able to use telemedicine for mental health issues. There was a lot of hard work and compromise that went into that, so thank you for that. Great job. Senator Gray, we all know the work that you did keeping the budget on track and coming up with just a remarkable effort, but you didn't give up on House Bill 58, which will protect, Senate Bill 58, I'm sorry, that will protect healthcare workers in our state's hospitals. That was a tough bill. We came together and it got done. Senator Innis, I know I asked you to sponsor housing legislation. You did a great job. It's certainly one of the biggest issues facing our state. You worked really hard. You worked well with Senator Perkins, Kwoka. Terrific job. Senator Ward, you've done a great job on education. It's really remarkable, some of the things that we've tried to do for education. But your bill, Senate Bill 135, which will help with special ed dispute resolutions, another great job. Senator Ricciardi, I mean, last year you had a great session with rooms and meals revenue distribution. This year you focused on water and PFAS remediation, another great job that all of us came together on. Senator Fenton, youngsters in cars. You did a great job protecting everybody. That's going to save lives, and that is... Well, I suspect he will, but we'll see. We'll see. But anyway, great job. Senator Chandley, there's been an awful lot of federal money that's come into our state, and your efforts for transparency, Senate Bill 208, online access to information of all this federal funds, really, really important. Senator Avard, I thought I was going to be able to congratulate you for getting Senate Bill 61 across the finish line, but let me tell you something. The effort that you put in with Senator Ward and the bipartisan basis to solve, a really big landfill issue, I know it came up a little short in the House today, but man, your effort was extraordinary. And net metering, you and Senator Waters again deserve a huge amount of credit. Senator Rosenwald, all the work that you did for Medicaid provider rates. When I think of the budget, there's nothing more important than keeping our healthcare system functional. Medicaid provider rates, thank God we had the revenue that we have to do it, but your advocacy was wildly important. Senator Carson, can't say enough about the work that you do and have done for years to protect children. You got the Sununu Center bill done. Great job. And your effort, for workers' compensation for firefighters that have cancer is also going to help an awful lot of people in our state. So thank you very much for that. Senator Whitley, the Energizer Bunny for moms, for mothers, expectant mothers, and all the work that you did on child care. Your persistence really paid off. It was really a pleasure to work with you, and the coalition that you built was pretty extraordinary. So thank you for that. Senator Murphy, you worked really hard. You were a great advocate for small businesses in our state, being a business owner yourself. Passage of Senate Bill 98, which raises the delinquent fee to $250, I think is going to help a lot of those small businesses. And sort of an under-the-radar thing, but something that affects each and every one of us because we need energy in this country, and the Jones Act is somewhat of a problem, and the advocacy you did on that Jones Act is certainly commendable. Senator Pearl, you got a tough job with OPLC. You got a really tough job. You got OPLC done, along with Senator Waters. You got game cameras done and tree stands done, and you served on finance, and you served on energy. So thank you very much. Great, great job. Senator Soucy, we never would have gotten all the bipartisan things done if you hadn't worked as hard as you did to work with us, to work with your caucus members, to come together. More than anybody else, I think you've understood forever in this building, we're going to have disagreements, but we never have to be disagreeable. And it's a tribute to your leadership that we were able to do so much together. And keep trying on judges over 70, and I know you will. Senator Birdsell stood up for the First in the Nation primary with your resolution. It's something all of us have worked hard on. You know, it is so important for our First in the Nation status. And when Hampstead had a little problem that got dropped in the budget, you went to work and got the job done for your town. That's what we all should do here. We all do it, but I think you have to get a shout out for that. Senator D, there are so many accomplishments that, you know, we could write home about. Congregate grandparents, what about that? You finally got that done? Actually, it's foster grandparents and congregate housing. But you got that done, but even more important, I think, is the pension offset, the Social Security offset. There were a lot of years that you advocated for that. We're able to do it in this budget, and it's a tribute to your hard work. Senator Perkins, Kwoka, Housing Champions, I think, is a game changer. I would have wished that we could have put a little bit more money into it, but let's see how that program works. I think the partnership between cities and towns and the state for affordable housing, as I said, an absolute game changer, and you know, your advocacy was extraordinary. Senator Abbas led the effort, along with Senator Birdsell, on First in the Nation status. Sort of don't know what happened in the House. Both you and I have talked about that. But I know you will be back next year with that First in the Nation, and I suspect that all 24 of us next year will be on board with your effort, and hopefully we'll be able to get it done, and your effort to enhance court security. Really good work. Senator Gannon, you had, you know, a slight break, but you were able to get Senate Bill 36 into the budget. And your advocacy on behalf of senior citizens with a system of care, really great work, and thank you very much. And Senator Altschiller, Senate Bill 179, you were able to, with passage of that legislation, eliminate seclusion as a form of punishment. Another bipartisan accomplishment. So as I go around the room, those were a lot of individual pieces of legislation that we came together on. None more important than the budget, and none more important than the reauthorization of Medicaid expansion. I think that, you know, it brought us all together. The teamwork was exceptional, and I just can't say enough to thank everybody for that teamwork, and quite frankly, it was an honor. It was an honor to be able to preside over all of these good things. I hope everybody gets a chance to enjoy the summer. The sun's still out. Maybe a few minutes longer, so go enjoy this day too. So if there are any further unanimous consents, Senator D.
Mr. President, I think all of us owe a debt of gratitude to you for your leadership this year. The budget was a tough one, but your leadership on the budget, along with the other members of the committee, greatly appreciated. And I think the synergistic relationship that you developed with the colleagues is truly remarkable, because we're many of us from different sides of the aisle, but indeed everything worked out. So my sincere thanks to you, because you and I have been around here a long time. As you say, we're how do you phrase it? We're ancient in terms of service. Geezerhood. But thank you for everything. Appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Thank you all very much. Any further unanimous consents? We are going to take a picture up here with as many of the staffers as we can. So, Senator Altschiller.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yesterday was my birthday. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. And I am very grateful for the last 11 birthdays that I have had. This is the 11th because cancer tried to take them away from me. And as many of you know, my mother-in-law has been living with me and my husband while she now battles cancer. And she is winning. And today is her birthday. And so we're leaving for a long weekend with family up at Lake Winnipesaukee, where we will also celebrate my mother's birthday. And she is a tough nut, for those of you who have met her, and has been living with progressive multiple sclerosis like a champ. We, the women in our family, are survivors, and we are going to celebrate this weekend and celebrate big. We are so lucky. We are much luckier than the families of the 30 people who were killed and the 167 people who were injured in the 35 mass shootings that have happened since this body last met. As we celebrate America's birthday this weekend, keep them in your thoughts.
Okay. Thank you, Senator Altschiller. Is there any further unanimous consents? Senator Lang.
So to my colleagues, I do want to say thank you. Senator Fenton and I had a nice photo in the paper pointing at each other basically over a bill that we were at complete odds with, that went to committee of conference, that was, as we went in, was completely a partisan bill. It came out with a 7-0 vote, and I'm happy to announce, and because of our agreement that we were able to reach in that bipartisanship, I think Senator Fenton and Senator Waters I have on my speed dial nowadays. I talk on a regular basis in a bipartisan fashion. That never happens over in the House, and I appreciate it. It passed by 1 vote, so thank you.
Okay, so before I recognize Senator Carson for the third reading motion, just a reminder, if everybody could gather here when we're done, we're going to try to get a picture. But Senator Pearl.
Mr. President, I forgot to mention one thing when I was introducing my wife earlier. I want to wish her a happy first anniversary. Next Monday is our first anniversary, and I want to have a good time celebrating with her. So 4th of July is, we were married on the 3rd, but that's a very special weekend for us. So I want to wish her a happy anniversary. Thank you.
Okay, Senator Carson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the business of the day being completed, that the Senate recess to the call of the chair for the purposes of sending and receiving messages, vacating bills, processing enrolled bill reports and amendments, and forming committees of conference, and when we recess to the call of the chair.
All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. The Senate is in recess to the call of the chair, but everybody come up here for a picture. And thank you all very much. We're in recess.